Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Judging by the reactions to stories, people here love traffic tickets. They love getting speeding tickets. They think everything about them is good. Just kidding. Mark, Phillip, and Ed both sent me an article that talks about traffic tickets, but also speed cameras and tickets issued by them. And this is something that many people have got a problem with. And it depends on the state you're in, how common they are. Some states don't allow speed cameras. Some states have red light cameras. But right now we're talking about England. And the reason we're talking about that is something funny happened there with respect to a speed camera. And this raises questions about speed cameras pretty much anywhere. And it's the real problem that people have when they say, if a police officer writes me a ticket for speeding, he or she will often explain to me how they thought I was speeding. I got you on radar. I was pacing you, and so on. But you can't question a machine that mails you a ticket. And there is a concept in America, in the Constitution, that you have the right to face your accuser. Now, if you go to court and say, I demand the right to face my accuser, the court's going to tell you, well, the machine is not your accuser. The police officer who checked the photograph or whatever evidence created by the machine, that is technically the witness against you. You've got the right to go after them, face them. But this is the issue. From metro.co.uk, drivers call for a refund of millions as UK's busiest speed camera found to be at fault. So a speed camera made a mistake, a big mistake. And the people who operate the speed camera say, oh, it appears to have a certain type of problem with certain kinds of cars. And the question is, if you got a ticket from one of these cameras, or this camera, or one like it, and now you're wondering, did it have a problem with my vehicle? A speed camera that issued over 5 million pounds in fines in 2 years has been found to be faulty by the police. The police admit this camera is faulty. The 30-mile-per-hour limit camera in Southampton cited 51,000 people speeding from 2015 to 2017. It issued an average of 70 tickets a day. 70 tickets a day. This thing is just printing money. It's making so much money for the government. Fines start at £100 and is believed to have raised over £5 million in fines during its career. Like I said, this thing is just a printing press for money. Now, Hampshire police say they are aware of an issue, that's a euphemism, an issue with the camera recording incorrect readings for vehicles with a high, flat rear. Now, I admit that the British sometimes use language a little differently. A car has a boot, right? And you take a lift to the upper floors. And if the lights are out, you might use a torch that has batteries in it. But what the high flat rear is, I'm not sure if they're talking about the deck of the car or the actual back end of the car. But for vehicles with a high flat rear, it will issue incorrect readings. One man, an engineer, almost lost his job because of this. The 37-year-old was cited in his motorhome when he was traveling well under the limit at 25 miles per hour in August. So speed limit's 30, he's doing 25. He got a ticket. Now, he could prove he was not speeding because he had footage from his dash cam. The entire approach to the camera and beyond it apparently, and it showed his speed as being 25. He received a letter which said that he could be prosecuted for traveling more than 50. Because that's what this speed trap thought he was doing. It said he was doing 50. He went into court, showed him the evidence, and they dropped the case. Now, the man says, if I was in a hire car or a work car and from outside the area and I didn't have proof of going 25 miles per hour, I'd have to pay it. So I wonder how many other people have been in a similar situation with a camera, as it's the most profitable in the country. And that is the thing. Not everyone's got a dash cam recording their speed at that exact moment. So the Alliance of British Drivers has now called for every driver caught by this specific camera who is fined to have their fines and costs refunded. I suspect that's going to be a tough row to hoe, as they say, but we'll see. A government official said, we are aware that sometimes cameras are not exactly accurate. Apparently you can be partly accurate, sort of accurate. somewhat accurate, close to accurate, almost accurate. But these are not exactly accurate. But for this camera to be recording a driver is traveling at 50, something is seriously wrong. So the man admits, this is the government official, admits if you're doing 25 and it says you're doing 50, mistakes were made. Now, here's the thing. I got guys in my audience, and gals, who are technically oriented. Some of them are engineers. Some of them work with machines. And generally speaking, a machine that's programmed to do something, that does it over and over and over and over again, the odds of it having one anomaly and then just continuing to operate perfectly well all along seems pretty strange. And now, I understand that in life, there are situations where you could buy a bag of apples and reach in there and find one bad apple. It's possible that the rest of the apples are good. You have a sample of one. But a machine that is programmed and is functioning consistently, you would think that if it's going along and all of a sudden it's got this one anomaly, the odds are there's other mistakes in there as well. And so they say they've identified the error. It has a problem with vehicles that have a high flat rear. A high flat rear. How they determined that, I don't know. And when they determined that, I'd be curious to know. Because the second they spotted this machine issuing bad tickets, they should have shut it down and called in the vendor that built it and said, what's wrong with this machine? And it makes you think, and I admit I am a skeptic. I admit this. I know in my audience I've got one or two skeptics. Just a couple. Maybe just one. I don't know. But I would suspect there's a chance that because this machine is printing money, as I said earlier, and writing tickets that generate revenue, they are disincentivized to shut it down. Because every day they shut it down, they lose the revenue from 70 tickets. So it makes you wonder if they literally just discovered this now, or if it just became public now. That's the real question. So every driver, regardless of what speed he has been shown doing by his camera, should have their fine refunded and any points removed, says the person from that alliance of British drivers. If people, as a result of this camera, have to do a speed awareness course, that should be refunded as well, as together with compensation for the time that the person has had to spend completing it. Good luck on that. But we'll see. We'll see. Another government spokesperson said, we are aware of an issue with the camera, which can lead to incorrect readings with vehicles with a high flat rear. Our summary justice unit has thorough processes in place to ensure that we prevent any incorrect prosecutions occurring. There have been 2 cases in which we've identified this issue and have stopped those proceedings. But the speed camera is still there, with a similar camera on the other side of the road. Police have not said how many more people may have been affected by the malfunction, and they may not even know. And that's the question. So the one guy who said he was driving along in his motorhome and got the ticket could prove otherwise and got the ticket thrown out. The question is, does it only occur with motorhomes? Or what other vehicles have such a high flat rear as to trigger this malfunction? And so it is a serious issue. Obviously, if you're in that area and you got such a ticket, you might want to do some research. The problem is that most people, when they get a ticket like this, simply pay it. It depends on where you are. There are some places where if you get a ticket like this and you pay it, it doesn't result in points. Some places it does. And, you know, like I said, it's mainly a revenue generator. They should just put a big old, well, if it was in America, they put a dollar sign on the side of it. If it was in England, they put a pounds sterling sign on the side of it. Because that's really all it is. It's a cash machine. It's a printing press. It just prints money for the municipality that's running it. So that's why they're so slow to take them down and so slow to resolve these issues. But I'll be curious to know if anything happens with the people who say they should get their money back, because it sounds to me like there probably are people who deserve to get their money back. And the question other than that is, how will they fix it? Or will they fix it? I don't know. Mark, Philip, and Ed, thanks for sending it from metro.co.uk. Drivers call for refund of millions as UK's busiest speed camera found to be at fault. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Don't gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is better than silver or gold.